Good morning, students. This is the continuation part of Socialism in Europe and Russian Revolution. In the last class, we studied about country's economy, how was its country's economy at that time, how socialism emerged in Russia, and also we have studied about the two political parties, that is Mensheviks and the Bolsheviks, and we have mainly studied about the leader Lenin, who was the leader of Bolsheviks party. Today we are continuing with the next part of the chapter, children, that is your working conditions of Russia. In Russia, what were the working conditions? Of the people in Russia? We have done that when there was industrialization in Europe. There was a huge production. The owners wanted huge production. But on the other hand, they were giving very less wages to the workers. So the same way, the conditions of workers in Russia was in a very bad shape. Workers in Russia were divided by their skills. Metal workers considered themselves aristocrats among other workers. There are different types of workers who do the different types of work. So they were divided by their skills. Their occupation demanded more training and skill. But the metal workers who worked with the metals, they were more important among the workers because their work demanded more training and more skill. Women also made up 31% of the factory labor force by 1914, but they were paid less than men. Women and children were also engaged in the industries, but they were paid less than the men. Divisions among workers showed themselves in dress and manners too. Different workers had different uniforms. Like metal workers will have a different uniform, the cotton workers will have a different uniform. Some workers formed associations also to help members in times of unemployment or financial hardships. They were unions also. You can call them as trade unions, or the workers' unions were formed. For example, the metal workers, they had their own union. So if anybody had to work for more hours, or they were not given proper wages, or there was unemployment, they used to help them out in such matters. Their occupation demand. Let's continue with the continuation part. Just a minute. Despite these divisions, workers did unite to strike work when they disagreed with employers about dismissals of working conditions. Although the workers were different, they had different uniforms, they had different types of work, but whenever any problem used to arrive, all the workers got united together. For example, if any employer, any workers is removed from the work, or there were harsh working conditions, at that time all used to get united. So this was a unique thing among them. Although the workers were different in many manners, they had something unique between them. Now, let us continue with that same part, which is also called as 1904-05 revolution and bloody Sunday. In that period of the year between 1905 what happened, what kind of revolution took place in Russia, and why is it called as Bloody Sunday. We were just now studying about the workers' conditions. So this is continuing with that part. Russian workers were deeply dissatisfied. They were not happy. The workers were not at all happy because in 1904, prices of essential goods increased. The goods like even bread, the prices of bread, all the essential goods, they increased. On one side, the prices increased, but on the other side, the wages of the workers declined by 20%. So think a situation when the worker is not getting the wages properly, and on the other side, the prices are increased. How the people will buy the goods? This is the same situation now which is arriving in the world now. Due to COVID, many people are getting only 50% salaries in many companies, many offices, many workers. But on the other side, the prices have increased in the market for all the essential goods. Whether they are vegetables or wheat, rice, all the prices have increased. So the kind of situation, I'm just explaining that. That was a kind of situation in 1900 and 05. Their grievances aggravated when four members of Assembly of Russian Workers were dismissed at the Putilov Iron Works. Now the workers, they got more angry because four of the members of their assembly, that is of their union, workers union, who were working in one of the Putilov Iron Works, they were removed from the work. They were dismissed from the work. When they were dismissed from the work, these workers, they went on strike, demanding a reduction in the working day to 8 hours. So why they were removed? These four members were removed because they started a strike demanding reduction in the working day to 8 hours, because the workers were made to work for 12-14 hours also in the industries. So they asked that the working conditions should be reduced, and also they asked for increase in the wages. The wages should be increased for the workers, and also asked to improve the working conditions, because the place where the workers used to work, they had very unhygienic conditions. So the workers demanded three things: reducing working hours to it should be 8 hours only, increase in wages because the wages were given reduced earlier, which we studied just now. So the wages should be increased, and third, the working conditions where they used to work, they should be improved. These were the three demands of the workers, due to which these workers were removed from the work. But they further, when the procession of workers reached, when these workers started strike, even many other workers joined them. I told you at such times all the workers used to join together. So all the workers joined together and they took out a procession. You might have seen the procession. Whenever there are people who are demanding something, they go on the roads by giving some slogans, that kind of procession I'm talking about. So the workers were taking a peaceful procession, children. It was, they were not attacking anyone, they were not fighting with anyone, they were not having any arms or anything, because they were workers. They were not having any arms. So they were going in a peaceful manner. But when the workers reached the Winter Palace, that is the palace of Tsar Nicholas II, where the official building was there of Tsar Nicholas II, when they reached over there, this procession, that is these workers, were attacked by the police and the Cossacks. Cossacks means the military. One of the military unit in Russia was called as Cossacks. So this peaceful procession of workers, they were attacked by the police and the military. Over 100 workers were killed. So many were killed. innocent people, and about 300 were wounded. That day, when the workers were taking out procession, that day was a Sunday because the workers had to work all the day. Sunday was a holiday for them. So on Sunday, the workers took out this procession and it was attacked by police and military, in which 100 people killed and 300 wounded, due to which this incident, because it happened on Sunday and lot of blood was shed. So that is why this incident came to be known as Bloody Sunday. Children, I hope you have followed this much part. Working conditions in Russia and how they started strike, what were the demands of the workers, these are the demands of the workers, and what is Bloody Sunday, which you have to give. That when the workers were taking out the procession and when they reached the Winter Palace, the official building, it was attacked by the police and military, where this many people killed and wounded. So this incident happened on Sunday, so it is called as Bloody Sunday. I hope you have followed about this Bloody Sunday. So we continue the same part, how this further spread. The incident had great significance in the history of Russia. This incident, Bloody Sunday, although it was not able to get any independence to these workers, or it had not improved the condition of the workers, but this incident had definitely an impact. So what was the impact this incident had? This incident had an impact, or it gave an inspiration to the people that it can wage such kind of strikes. So after this incident, strikes took place all over the country. Not earlier, the strike was only done by few workers, but inspired from this strike and because of this Bloody Sunday incident, the workers were very angry. So the strikes took place now all over the country, not only in that place where the workers were removed. So it took all over the country. Universities got closed down. Many universities were closed. Even in India, you might have seen whenever there is such kind of strikes, it is the shops which are closed, universities and schools are closed. So same way here also, when the strike started all over the country, so many people locked down. Lawyers, doctors, engineers, other middle class workers, all of them, they established their unions. Earlier these unions were not there. Only workers union was there. But after this incident, inspired from this strike, workers' strike, other people also got inspired. Even the lawyers, doctors, all the people, they started making their own unions and they also demanded a constituent assembly. They wanted a parliament. Constituent assembly means a parliament of members who will make the constitution for the country. Because we studied that in Russia there was no constitution, there was no parliament earlier. The whole of the countries was in the hands of absolute monarch, that is Tsar Nicholas II. So that is why all these people, they made their trade unions and they asked the Tsar Nicholas II that he should now form a constituent assembly which will frame a constitution for the country, so that the country can be run as per the constitution, not as per the king. So that is the demand of the all the people, especially the common people. Then we continue with the Russian Revolution. Rise of Russian Revolution. Now we are starting with the next part. that is rise of Russian Revolution. How the Russian Revolution, it had already started. That is just with the that strike, small strike which we studied just now. That is the you can think of that it is a foundation stone. Foundation stone is laid down for the Russian Revolution. Now only thing is how it was done. So how it further went on. The incident of Bloody Sunday leads to the creation of Duma. Just now we studied that now not only the workers, all the people of the country, they wanted that there should be a Duma created. Now what is Duma? It is a Russian word for elected parliament, consultative parliament in Russia, or the parliament in Russia is called as Duma. It's one mark question. Parliament in Russia called as Duma. As per the demand of the people, now they want that there should be a parliament where there will be elected members for the parliament. The workers finally also formed an organization known as Soviet. So the workers, not only one kind of workers of the industries, all the workers, lawyers, workers, teachers, everybody together, they all together formed an organization which is called as Soviet. It is also called as Council. So they themselves called as that they are Soviet, an organization. Now they are no more workers of iron ore industries or cotton industries. All of them got together and they formed their own organization and they named their organization as Soviet. It came to be later known as Petrograd Soviet. Petrograd is a place. So from that place, because these things have begun, so they named it as Petrograd Soviet. These Soviets, which began as a committee, now when the Soviet was formed, it was a small committee, few members and a small committee. What was their main aim? They conducted strikes. Whenever there was any kind of injustice happened to the workers, they waged the strike. Later, this Soviet organization, it has become a political party. Later, this Soviet organization of workers that had become a political party because now people started joining the Soviet organization. People believed in the Soviet organization. So, when the people believed in the Soviet organization, they started forming the Soviet. The Soviet, which began as committee, conducted strikes, etc. The incident provoked disturbances in practically every part of the country and among every social class. The Soviets, they became so popular in the country. By their strikes, they became so popular that the whole country people, all types of workers, all classes of the people, they came to know about them. Even sections of the army and navy revolted and sympathized with the revolutionaries. It's not only the common people who were against the system of Russia, because this all why it happened, because there was bloody Sunday. The innocent people were killed. So the people of Russia were very angry with the Tsar Nicholas II, who was the king at that time. So these all the people joined these revolutionaries. So Soviets came to be known as revolutionaries. Those people who fight for their country, for their justice, they are called as revolutionaries. For example, Bhagat Singh in our country was called as a revolutionary. He fought for our country's independence. In the same manner, all these workers were called as revolutionaries, those who fought for their justice. In the same manner, several people from the army, from navy, they also left their jobs. They revolted against the king and they had sympathy with these workers, that is the revolutionaries. Tsar, who was the king at that time, now he had come under the pressure because from all the sides from all over the country. The people were against him. People wanted that he should now frame a parliament. Now there should be a constitution in the country, and Tsar, the king, should rule as per the constitution. This is same as children French Revolution, where you studied earlier the king was absolute monarch. Later he agreed to work under the constitutional monarch. That means even he has to follow the constitution. So the same thing here also. Tsar Nicholas II, now he was under pressure because all the people of the country were against him. Finally, he introduced the October Manifesto, which granted, now he released few things because he was afraid that the people had started a strike and he will be removed. So he granted few things to the people, that is freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of association, and also he conferred the power. He said that now there will be laws made. The laws will be made, and for making of laws, he also framed Duma, parliament, because if the laws have to be made, if the constitution have to be made, there should be a parliament. The members should be there who will make the laws. So that's how the Duma was framed by Tsar Nicholas II, and they were asked to frame the laws for the country. That's how the foundation is now slowly becoming strong for making of the constitution in the country. Children, we studied now Russian just now, rise of Russian Revolution. Now we are going towards the First World War, which you have studied in the Hitler's chapter, that is in the rise of Nazism chapter, where you studied about Germany attacked upon Russia also. It has dragged the Russia into the war because they wanted even to control over the Russia. So after the Tsar Nicholas II has framed this Duma, now in the First World War we are talking about, and the Russian Empire. Now there are two powers in the First World War. We studied again in the that Hitler's chapter. They are called as the Central Powers and the, which are also called as later on Allied powers and the Axis powers. Presently, they are called as Central powers and the Allied powers. Who were the Central powers? Germany was the leading Central power. So, Germany, Austria, not Australia. Australia is a European country, and Turkey. These were the Central powers. Who were the Allied powers? They are same, which we studied in the Hitler's chapter. France, Britain, Italy or Romania, and Russia. They were the Allied powers, and Allied powers was later on, end of the First World War, it was joined by even America. So that's your Allied powers. So Russia was a part of the Allied power, and Germany was in the opposite power, that is Central powers. So Germany had attacked upon Russia because Germany's ambition was to get more and more lands. So these are the two powers which are shown over there, Central powers and triple entity, which we will talk about later. Okay, this is the map which is showing that all these countries which we have just named. Austria, which was there together with Austria-Hungary. Now they are separated. Then we have France, we can see here. We have Germany, we have Russia. And on the top, above the Netherlands, you will see the Great Britain also. A little above this, yes, United Kingdom, you can see UK is written, so that's your Great Britain. So these are the Germany is also shown in pink color. So that's about the countries which were involved in the war. So that's all, children, for today, because now in the next video we'll do First World War and Russian Empire. How did Russia enter into the First World War? What losses it had got in the First World War, and why Tsar Nicholas II was hated by the people of Russia. So that is the next part of the chapter, which we will continue in the next video, children. That's all for today, and go through till now 3 videos we have done. So go through all the 3 videos so that you can go, because this is a chain. Until unless you understand the first and second part, you won't understand third part. So see all the 3 videos, children, and learn about and thoroughly go through it so that you can learn that what has happened actually in Russia, which has laid foundation for the actual Russian Revolution. So that's all, children, for today. Have a good day.